Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. You just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
And welcome into Purple Access. Judd, Zulgad, and Chip Scoggins, Star Tribune sports columnist. Of course, my former colleague with me on the Vikings beat back in the Access Vikings days. We very, very creatively turn it around to be Purple Access now. Chip, you come in full Tennessee regalia. If I'm not mistaken, you guys moved up to four, right?
Four, yeah.
Oh, boy, these are some halcyon days.
4-0. 4 in the country. We're playing great defense. Offense is always going to be good with Josh Heupel, but we're playing great defense. Go to Arkansas this week. I'm taking it one at a time here, Judd. I'm taking it one game at a time, but it's hard not to think about the playoff, man.
I was going to say, if they make the playoff, which I'm sure that they will because it's 12 teams, and so they're a viable contender, will you be attempting to attend any of those games?
I will try. I will do my best. We'll see where the Viking season is at, but right. I would love to get there.
I was going to say, come on. I mean,
I would love
Vols,
to get there.
It's been a long time.
I know. It's fun.
So, all right. So you were in Green Bay on Sunday for what was a really weird game. I mean, the Vikings are up 28-0. Then Naylor muffs or fumbles the punt. The Vikings then score 3 points in the entire second half. The Packers come back and score 29 points. 4 games in, 4-0, 3 pretty convincing wins, 1 convincing win for a half. Yeah. What is your overall 10,000-foot takeaway of the Minnesota Vikings right now?
That I swung and missed on thinking this team would be average or below average. I said 7-10. They're clearly a lot better than I thought. And right now they're 3 or 4 games. They're one of, if not the best team in the NFL. I mean, it's hard to argue with it. If we're just going on the 4-game sample size, when you look at their offense, they have one of the best offenses and they have one of the best defenses. And the kicking game's been good. So I think obviously the 2, prevailing storylines is Sam Darnold's playing at a really, really high level. And the defense is doing likewise.
Yeah, I think the Darnold thing. So there was, I think where the national people got the Vikings wrong, and I'm with you. I think I predicted 8 wins. So, but I think where the national people, especially the pundits, got the Vikings wrong was there was no question in my mind that this defense was actually going to be improved. And, it was certainly, it went from disaster in Donatel's last year to being pretty solid for the most part, aside from December of last year in Flores' first year. I thought the defense would be improved. I think the thing that no one outside of maybe Kevin O'Connell, the Darnold thing, like if anybody, and I know there was an expectation he could play better and that O'Connell would get more, but Chipper, do you think anybody thought 4 games in that you could mention the name Sam Darnold, an MVP candidate, in the same sentence? And if you do, you can't be laughed at?
No, I mean, he's leading the NFL in touchdown passes with 11, and I think he's 3rd in quarterback rating, 2nd or 3rd. I mean, he's posting over 100 quarterback rating pretty much every game. And the thing is I think the most noteworthy to me is how much faith and trust he has earned and won already. Because pretty much the storyline after the game, Judd, in locker room was, after Green Bay had cut that lead to 28-22 and it's 10 minutes left, a lot of times you see teams, okay, we're just going to run the ball and try to milk some time off the clock here and hope our defense holds up. And Kevin O'Connell said, nope, we're coming out throwing. They threw 4 straight passes, and he delivered. I mean, that first down throw to Jefferson, he rifled that sucker in there. I mean, that was a great throw. And you think back to, what was the game? Was it would have been San Francisco when he threw the ball up the seam to Naylor, where he made him go. That was a big time throw. So in these pressure situations and moments, they're putting it on Sam Darnold to go make a play. And we thought, well, just manage it, don't screw it up, don't have the turnovers like we've seen in your career.
Yep.
Now, he had to turn over in the red zone, but that's the other thing is, and Kevin O'Connell's talked about this, don't let things snowball. And we haven't seen that from Darnold yet, that if he makes a mistake, he regroups and comes back and makes big-time throws and plays well. So credit to him. I think they've surrounded him. Obviously, O'Connell's a really good quarterback coach and knows how to get the best out of guys. But I think if you look at their talent, I'm going to write about this later this week when we're in London. Joe, they got some speed on offense. When you look at Addison, Aaron Jones, Naylor.
Yes.
And even though Jefferson's not somebody you're going to say is a speed burner, but he plays fast as can be. They look like they were playing at a different gear than the Packers in that first half.
Yes. And TJ Hawkinson's not back yet.
Yeah.
If he comes back, and it's certainly not going to be against the Jets. He could, but he won't. I saw a report on Sunday that it's probably not going to be against the Lions. It might be the Thursday night game that follows that against the Rams. But if Hockenson comes back at, let's say, 85 to 90%, now you've got, and look, their tight ends have done a fine job. I'm not
Sure.
saying that they're in trouble there. But if you bring Hawkinson's receiving ability back, because the one thing that I saw, and the Packers did adjust, but the one thing that I saw, Chipper, in the first half against the Packers was they were literally like picking their poisons. Like at first they doubled Jefferson. And I mean, Jordan Addison might be a problem off the field at times. He would be the number one receiver, just pure talent wise, on a bunch of teams. Yeah. And so the Packers adjusted and improved there. But if you have now, right, Jefferson, Addison, Naylor, who, if he stays healthy, has proven he is a really decent option, and Hockenson, the embarrassment of riches, and O'Connell loves that, right? That my question becomes, okay, defensively, what do you do schematically to shut that down?
Well, and I didn't even throw Powell in there. They had he drew a holding penalty in the end zone. But if you go back to in that first, was it the first drive, or is it the first quarter, Judd, where Naylor gets the 27-yard catch? Jefferson runs up the field and he draws that defense to him, and Naylor does an over route, and he's wide open and he's fast, and he's, he converted there. A big play. I think it might have been even third down, but that's what you're talking about. And if Jefferson's going to draw that kind of tension, and you can get, that little stutter and go move by Addison to, basically run right by the guy for a touchdown, and the jet sweep, you saw how, elusive he is. I mean, this is what this offense can be. And, oh, by the way, now you can run the ball.
Right.
Now you can throw the ball to Aaron Jones in a screen game.
Yes.
And he's going to pick up yards. I mean, this is the offense that we've wanted to see since O'Connell got here, but they just haven't had the running game component to it, and now they do. And Aaron Jones really has brought just such a dimension to them. Not only with the speed and that you have to worry about that, but he runs hard. He's a tough runner, and he, I can't tell you how many times it feels like it's 3rd and 1 and he gets 3. Where he's falling forward and fighting for yards, where he might got hit in the backfield or at the line, but he gets the first down. When you add a Hockenson to this, and if it's, if he's healthy and the normal guy that we're used to,
right,
man, this offense, there's no reason it shouldn't be a top 5 offense.
Oh, hell no. And with all of those things that you just talked about, including the first time that since O'Connell has been here that they've had a productive screen game, the offensive line is pretty good.
Yeah. I think we haven't talked about them enough. Particularly in that first half, it felt like Sam Darnold was just going through what was the, on the down there on the goal line when he the touchdown pass to Oliver. I mean, he's looking here, and then he comes back. He had all the time in the world to do that.
And Kenny Clark played. Banged up, but he played, and he has, how many games have we seen Clark destroy for the Vikings?
For sure.
And I think he had 2 pressures. So, Darnold's been fantastic, don't get me wrong, but the protection for the most part has been pretty good. Hot take, agree or disagree, and you have now covered this team for a long time. I think this is the best single free agent class in Vikings history 4 games in. Not just the best one guy. Like we could debate the best.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm talking about, so the only other free agent class I thought of was in the Will's second year and Childress' first. They brought in Chester Taylor, Hutchinson, Longwell,
Yeah, that's a good one.
Lieber. That was a good class. But Chip, the thing that impresses me here is from Darnold to Grugier Hill, who wasn't supposed to play, and now I've never seen more guys that they just brought in and dropped in, parachuted in. Jones, I could go to Gilmore, who's been fantastic. I've never seen more guys make this type of difference immediately when we were like, okay, jury's out, right?
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, you weren't sure. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about the whole class, I mean, obviously there's been, obviously the Favre. If you're talking about one player, but if you're talking about the class, he's pretty much hit on him, right? I mean, if you go through them, Aaron Jones, Stephon Gilmore,
Shaq Griffin picked off of.
Shaq Griffin's got a pass.
Darnold.
I mean, obviously Darnold. Yeah, I mean, there's probably 5 or 6 guys that are playing integral roles.
Yes.
And performing at a pretty high level for him. Yeah, yes. So and the thing is, they needed him, Judd, because, there were holes and they filled them, right? I mean,
yes.
Credit. I mean, we've all taken our shots at Kwesi's first draft class. And two things can be absolutely true.
Correct.
The draft class can, you can point out that draft class, but you can also praise what he's done with this free agent class. And I think that goes. Kwesi deserves credit because he's the one that signs it. He's the final say. But I mean, I think their personnel scouts, but also the coaches saying, "Hey, hey, I want Van Ginkel or I want Cashman,
Cashman, yeah, Van Ginkel,
I mean,
Grenard,
Grenard. I mean, heck, that's more than 5. That's talking about 8 guys now, or 9 guys.
And Cashman, by the way, I had no idea Cashman was this good a pro player.
He had. It's funny. I looked after the first quarter last game because I was like, does he have every tackle in his quarter? Because it's like, but I think he had 5 after the first quarter. I mean, that guy is a tackling machine. And I think I mentioned it to you last time here. I guess I haven't covered him at the Gophers. I didn't think about it or maybe underestimated how fast he is. I mean, he has some speed to him. And that's the other thing, Judd. I think they've really upgraded the overall speed of this team, both defensively, obviously on offense, when you look at the pieces they've had there, but defense too, with Cashman,
the edges,
the edges,
the edge room now
Grenard,
is quick. It was never quick.
Yeah. I just feel like they, I assume I'm going to talk to Connell about that when we get to London, but I'm sure that was intentional. That team had gotten old quick, and so they needed to get younger, and they needed to add some speed. So that really jumped out to me in the first half Sunday.
I don't think that they previously had. And look, again, this is not to disparage Hunter. Daniil was a great player, okay, but it feels like this defense with the personnel in place that Flores wants now, Chip, feels like they wreck games because of that speed. Because of the edge room now is not bulky guys. It's more, for the most part, lean, fast guys for edges, right? I mean, Grenard, like that's the thing is the sacks don't tell the story to me because it's the ability of the edge room now to apply pressure. I feel like this defense, in my opinion, it's been a long time since they wrecked games. I feel like now that they have the potential to and more often wreck games for opponents.
I think it's because they have more guys to do it. Previously, it was like, okay, Hunter, he can, get to the quarterback and create, havoc his own way. But there wasn't a whole lot outside of him that was going to do it. Now, I mean, it's just like Pat Jones. I mean, was he at 5 sacks? I mean, who saw that coming?
Not me.
And Grenard and Van Ginkel and and their linebackers that can come, and they're bringing Harrison Smith and Josh Metellus. So it's. I think it's just the accumulation of all the different pieces that they have that they can get pressure in different ways and not just have to rely on one guy to, beat a left tackle. As I was thinking about this Sunday in the second half, I don't think I'm going to overreact to that because that felt like a game. That defense felt out of character for what we had seen the first 3.5 games to me. they were sitting up in the press box. There were big gaps in that secondary where guys were off, and to Love's credit, he found some guys, but
Right.
I don't know if that's because they were such a big lead or they had. I know the one touchdown there was a miscommunication. They had left the guy wide open. I don't think I'm gonna overreact to that.
The 2 drives, the Packers game and the Niners game that I don't like are the field long drives.
Yeah.
When Jones fumbled, and if he scores, I think it's 27-7 Vikes, and that becomes a blowout.
Yeah.
But the Packers got the ball fourth quarter, right? In that game.
Mm-hmm.
They drive the length of the field and score. The Packers did the same thing. That to me is a cautionary thing because that seems like something that we see now and dismiss a little bit. Yeah. And then it comes back in the playoffs and bites you. So those were the two drives that, because they happened in the same, basically, or a similar situation in different games, that does concern me a bit because this defense is built around aggression, speed, right? And taking it to you. I don't like backing off that. And look, we could debate, should O'Connell have kicked the field goal on 4th down or not? But my take is this. This defense needs to be trusted not to allow the team. I mean, they gave the ball to the Packers at what, the 2 or the 1?
2-yard line.
So to me, it's not O'Connell screwed up. It's the defense has to be better, which, by the way, I think Flores and most of the guys on defense said exactly that.
Well, it was, and I didn't talk to defensive guys in the locker room afterwards. I was doing an offensive column, and I'm guessing they were not happy. Happy with the win, but not happy with that second half. And,
I saw some stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, you have a standard, and that wasn't it, and so I saw Flores talk yesterday about, they had a pretty good film session on Monday to go through what happened, and so I'm sure they got some things rectified and cleaned up and pointed out. So, I mean, those 2 drives, you're like, man, this is, when they fall back, they're susceptible to that, as is every defense we've seen when they get in that situation. And I understand it because when you're up big, you just don't want to give up the big play that, you'd rather them chew some clock off. But, clearly O'Connell was not thinking about a 98-yard drive when he went fourth.
And I don't think he should have been.
He has trust in his defense. And do you play the odds there and say, okay, they're not going to have 2 touchdown drives? To me, I understood what he was doing in terms of sending a message to his players that he's going to be aggressive. He believes in them. And if I'm a player, I appreciate that. Now it's my job to go out and not let him drive all the way down the field and score.
Yeah, I guess my statement would be this defense has such an identity. I don't think it ever should be abandoned. And they play. I mean, they play cover 2 and 3, so it's not like they are susceptible consistently to the deep ball. But I mean, I don't like it when, especially Flores' guys, get sort of passive and scared because their whole. I think the whole mindset, Chipper, is built on we're going to kick your ass,
attacking,
and now it's like, please don't beat us. I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, you want them to have the foot on the gas the whole time, and
defensively, I do.
So but again, I didn't leave there thinking, oh my gosh, well, they got some issues with.
I agree with you.
I think it was one of those situations that was weird. You're up big. They kind of, they backed off a little bit, and it cost them some touchdowns.
The one thing that I didn't mind is this. In game 4, I don't mind, especially on the road, and especially because it didn't cost you adversity. Like it feels like the first 3 games, the Niners game got a little dicey, but it was at home, and it feels like the first 3 games, and look, credit Vikings, they won all of them, or 2 of them substantially, but there was no real adversity. It felt like the Niners a little bit, but this was adversity. And we have seen teams, we've all covered teams that don't get that. And then you get to a really important game and it's like, whoa, we haven't been punched in the face, because inevitably you're going to get punched in the face in a key game. So I don't mind the fact that they left there with a win, but they didn't leave there on their high horse. And there was a lot probably to correct. And O'Connell post-game did not seem exactly content.
Well, no. And the thing that if you look back now that they have the win, the silver lining is like it got stressful there. When it was 28-22 and they take over with 10-15 on the clock, that's a stressful drive because now the Packers fans are into it. That stadium was loud. You could get real tentative right there and run the ball, but no, that offense put together a big time drive to go down there and they didn't score. I mean, they got a field goal. I'm sure they would have preferred a touchdown, but they pushed it back to a 2-score game, and so I think that's got to be valuable, right? that situation where the game was a total laugher in the first half, and you're thinking, okay, this is going to be cruising. Now all of a sudden, you got a stressful drive where you got to put something together.
To your point too, the fact that, and we can debate the actual play calls, but at the end of the day, they worked. The fact that Darnold did that on the road and it sounded like the crowd was loud, like that place was rocking. Certainly Vikings fans were there, but a lot of Packers fans. And the fact that Darnold had the game, right or wrong, put on his shoulders. And Jefferson, look, I mean, he's unbelievable. He is a cheat code. Yeah. I'm not saying he's not, but the fact that they trusted Sam and Sam did that, to me is really heartening, because it's one thing to, the Vikings dominate the Texans, right? And Sam plays great, and that's great. But it's at home, and it's a favorable environment. This was not. The Vikings are, I mean, we've seen them blow these games before, Chipper, and Darnold took the pressure and thrived. That, to me, is going to be ultimately, if this success continues, a really important check mark in like Darnold's maturation from bust into a really good potential quarterback.
Yeah, as you're talking there, I'm sitting there thinking about this. We've seen him play with the big lead. We've seen him have to play, make a couple of gut check drives. Really haven't seen him have to play catch up yet.
No, which we will.
Which that'll happen, where you're down 10 and you got to have, some, drives where you got to get points. That'll be the next kind of check mark that you need to see. But no, I think, like my call from the game was, at the moment of truth, in a game that you didn't think it was going to come down to this, O'Connell trusted his quarterback, and the quarterback trusted the superstar. And it starts with Darnold making those, but man, when you have a superstar like that, it's just going to go make plays for you. Like the one catch along the sideline was, ridiculous.
Well, stupid.
But I to me, the biggest play of the game was that 17-yard completion on first down, because it is on that first. Yeah,
and that was a great throw and a great catch.
It's a great throw. Yeah, but it's just like, it almost like they could exhale. Okay, now we're ready. Now we're going and we're moving, and then he come back and he had the 20-yarder to Jefferson. And that got him in field goal range, and it was. That's how you stop momentum. A drive like that.
Yeah, and quiet the crowd a little bit. 100%.
And that's how you get it back to your side, and you kick a field goal, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, what impressed me too is, so like if you ever wanted to look at a game book and stats that sort of lie, it's that game with Jefferson. At that point, when that drive began, and he caught a pass, I think it was a screen to Oliver, and then a pass again to Justin. He had 3 catches before that, and Chipper, you'd be like, well, Justin Jefferson's not having a great day. What's wrong? Yeah. The Packers were so obsessed with him that the passing game in the first half succeeded because of him.
I know. That's it.
It's incredible to watch.
That's how it is.
His body work.
And we talked about, I wrote about this too, situational awareness. When they get down there to near the goal line, and I don't know what happened with him and Darnold and Jones on that handoff where Darnold just hits the ground. He didn't try to do something crazy and pop,
bravo on that.
And then third down, he throws it into the stands.
Yep.
I think he was just saying, I don't have anything I'm going to get rid of. We're going to kick a field goal. Green Bay comes back to the next drive. Harrison Smith blitzes, and Jordan Love just throws one up for grabs like a punt. I mean, to me, I know Love had a lot of yards and he had some nice plays, but like that was a killer turnover to just throw a ball up for grabs against a blitz. That's why I think Darnold is showing some pretty great and pretty veteran savvy situational awareness.
Oh, absolutely. That play where he went down, I thought was brilliant. And I got a note that said he should have thrown it away.
No.
Here's all I care about. He didn't lose the ball, and I like the fact I think that play was born from the play. Was it against the Niners when he
tried to do
pitch
something?
or he sort of threw the ball backwards for Jones?
He threw it back to Jones. Yeah.
And that play was like, dude, no,
Don't do that.
Just go down, lose yardage. I don't give a damn. Lose 5 yards. And I liked on that play, clearly a miscommunication between the two. The guy Jones wasn't there, but instead of like panicking or doing something stupid, and so I think that play that I'm talking about where he threw the ball backwards was against San Fran, and then there was the Houston pitch forwards, which was an incomplete pass, but was still a stupid move. Yeah. Like, I love the fact that this time he tucked the ball and just said, bleep it.
Because he's still in field goal range. I mean, they're down there close.
And a turnover will kill you there because now you talk about momentum.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's like he could have said, oh, no, I'm going to try to run. No, he hit the dirt and it was over. So I just thought between those couple plays and Love just throwing one up for grabs that was, I'm not sure what he was thinking there. I mean, that's the difference in winning and losing. Like, simple plays like that where you're not forcing something. So,
well, and not just that, can you imagine if they had collapsed? Like the narrative this week, 28-point lead, the narrative nationally, forget us. The narrative throughout, the Vikings were frauds. We knew it, 28 points up. And that's the difference. And especially right then, because if he had decided I'm going to pitch the ball or I'm going to do something. And he fumbles and the Packers recover, everything in that stadium is shifted towards them then. So I thought that was a great play. Last thing, your expectation, the Jets seem to still be the Jets. Rodgers can't really, I don't think he can run around much anymore.
No, they can't protect him.
I'm thinking this is a Viking win. I don't know by how much, but I think that there is a better chance that Robert Saleh gets fired on the plane ride home than the Vikings actually lose this game to the Jets.
Well, when Rodgers is making comments about his cadence and it's like where we could coach him better or have more accountability, there's that's a icy situation. And Mark Craig, my colleague, wrote about it for this morning that their line's a mess. Their offensive line's a mess. They can't protect. Rodgers took a beating. I mean, how many times did he get hit? How many times he got hit? It was a lot.
Yeah.
And he's not 100% now. So I got to imagine that now he's still smart. He can decipher things, but I got to imagine that Brian Flores is going to try to put a lot of heat on him, bring a lot of pressure to test that offensive line. So I would pick them to win. I just think the Vikings are a better team. I think defensively, they're going to just really make life heck on that offensive line and Rodgers. So I think they come back 5-0, man.
I agree. Then the bye week. The last time, 2016, the exact same scenario played out. The only difference is I didn't really buy stock in that team. I think this team is. I think this team is legit.
I do too. I mean, through 4 games, I know it's still a small sample size, but you can look at what you're seeing, and it looks right. It looks legit. I mean, defensively, offensively, what they're doing, the schemes, the personnel, everything, it just looks like this team is a lot better than we initially thought. And
that Lions game, then the next game is going to be great. I can't believe I'm saying that. A Lions game is going to be great. It's going to be. That's going to be a great test. So
it will be. Yeah.
All right, sir. Safe travels to
Thanks, man.
England. Have fun there, and we'll look for your stuff in the StarTribune, StarTribune.com. Chipper, I'm Judd. We'll talk to you later.